Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gaming Droid, and welcome back to Modern Skyblock 3. And before we begin today's episode, which we'll be working through on Mechanism, I wanted to address something. So I've done the math, and basically one of these guys running at full efficiency can run 75 of these guys. And that works out as approximately 75 times 160, which is 12,000 RF. And to run one of these guys at maximum efficiency, you basically need two mushroom, you need two mushroom red, two mushroom brown, two carrot, two potato, one pumpkin, one melon, one wheat, one canola, and one rice. So you need all this row and these machines to run this at full efficiency. Now, that does give you some leftovers, and if you want to add another one, you have to add in more potatoes, more carrots, more mushrooms, more rice, more wheat, more pumpkins, and more canola. So you basically have to add in this if you want to add another one. So that would take us up to 150 of these generators, giving us 24,000 RF a tick. Well, I found that if you have Pam's Harvest Craft installed, which we do, you actually get a lot of different kinds of fish available. Now, all of these guys, if you use them, all end up converting into the same thing, which is cooked fish or the Pam's Harvest Craft items. They all turn into cooked fish. But here's the interesting thing. If we look up uses on these guys, in an industrial foregoings protein reactor, they can be used to make protein. And the protein reactor works exactly the same as the bioreactor. If it has 9, then a single cycle produces 1,440. So 9 different kinds, 1,440. Now, the reason the protein reactor is better is because the protein generators, which use up the same amount of fuel, generate twice as much power. So the protein reactor and the protein generators are basically twice as powerful as these. And because we have Pam's Harvest Craft fish, we don't have to worry about having cow breeders and rabbit breeders and sheep breeders and getting protein from all sorts of different sources. We can just have these guys, resource fishers, because one resource fisher gets you all of these different fish. So everything from this jellyfish this away are fish that can be used, including, and the rotten flesh can be used as well. So these fishers get you all these different kinds of fish that can be used in protein generators. They also get you some other stuff as well, which I've put into resource drawers, and they also get you enchanted fishing rods, enchanted bows, enchanted books, and ink sacks, which are being thrown away in these 2 trash cans. But basically, that allows us to have one of these protein generators producing 1,440 buckets of protein a tick. So if one of these at max speed can take 75 of these guys, one of these at max speed can take 75 of these guys. And these produce twice as much energy. And I don't need this entire cloche setup and all of these machines. I literally just need to run one of these at max speed. You need 4 of these running with 2 energy upgrades. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 running with 2 energy upgrades, and 1, 2, 3, 4 running with 2 energy upgrades. So I can technically run 2 of these. I can technically run 150 of these generators. There we go. And now we can add up to another 50 of these generators without even putting on another bioreactor. And that would get us up to 24,000. Now, the one thing I will say is that to make the protein generators, you need the biofuel generators. So it's not that much cheaper in resources, because the biofuel generators are needed as a base ingredient anyway. So you're using up twice as much plastic, twice as many furnaces. You're not using up twice as many casings, and you're not using up twice as many blaze rods because of the way these change, the recipe changes. But you are using up some additional resources. So, crafting recipe-wise, we look up uses. Okay, no, if we look at protein generator, because you can't do uses in this thing. Protein generators. We have biofuel generator. We've got the 3 pistons, which is exactly the same thing we need for the biofuel generator. We've got a furnace, which is exactly the same. So the recipe's the same, apart from in the biofuel generator, we have blaze rods and a machine frame, and in the protein generator, we have a biofuel generator and spide size. So it does use up quite a lot of pistons. However, we've currently got 25. We can run another 50 off this biofuel, protein reactor. So there we go. We've got those, and then we can add another 13 across, or we can add another group in along here. Now, there's no mob spawns in here, so we don't have to worry about lighting, because we're in a little subdimension. And yeah, we can add in 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we want to make more of this protein solution, all I have to do is add in another protein generator basically here, where the item pipe is. And the way we've got this set up is the protein generator has its conduits set to 10 priority, and these are set to -10 and -10, and these have filters in them for sticks and ink, and this bin has a filter in it for water bottles, fishing rods, enchanted books, bows, name tags, and all the other stuff I don't want to keep. And then these drawers are set to insert and extract, insert at -1. So if it can't go in here, it goes in these. And you can see that we've got 1,300 fish, 53 clownfish, 360 salmon, 320 of these, 190 rotten flesh. So we've got lots and lots of spare fish, and that's because I've been running these extra fishers. But 4 fishers will run one of these guys at full efficiency. Now, admittedly, it uses different kinds of fish, and if you just have it spewing into a bin, then it'll delete a lot of stuff that you want to keep. But if we do want to add some more of these generators, because we're now up to, what, 13 plus 12, 25, 12 plus 13, 50. We're up to 53 of these guys. That's why it's always in these 13 by 13 a good way to like have a pipe running up the side, because then you can do 13 and 12, 13 and 12. We can add another row and another part row. So we can add another 10, another 22 without exceeding what this guy's capable of doing. Now, you can see that this has gone down. That's because it's filled up all the generators. However, if we watch this guy, it will tick up. So it's 65, 65.3, 66.5, 67.4. So you can see this is going up. So we're not exceeding this generator's capacity yet. We're producing more than we're using. So we can add another 22 generators, and that will reach, this will reach kind of maximum if we add another 22 generators. But on this now, with 53 generators, if we do the math, it's 53 times 320, and that works out as 16,960. So we're making 17,000 from this, whereas previously this entire system was making 12,000. So all of the generators here were making 12,000. This is now making 17,000, and we haven't finished converting all these generators yet. And as I said, we can fit another 22 generators on here if we want. Speaking of fitting another 22 generators, that's almost all of these generators converted. So there we go. We are up to 50, 62, 63, 64, 65. So 65 times 320 is 20,800. And if we look at the conduits, I think that kind of maxes out our conduits now. Our conduits are 20,480. So we're actually producing more energy now, and you can actually see that in the fact that this is going up. We're producing more energy now than we can actually transmit through our conduits. And that is entirely self-sustaining. That requires no effort on my part. That is going to sustain itself forever without any input from me, which is absolutely great. Like that's exactly what I wanted. So yeah, if you've got Pam's Harvest Craft installed, that is one hell of a way of creating a extremely efficient energy source. So this is now using 14,000. So because it's set to use the phantom face, it won't tell you how much is being pulled out. So we look here now, it's now using 14,000, and it's using 14,000 a tick going out, but it's also getting in 14,000 a tick, and that can go up to 20-something thousand if we want it to. So yeah, we are now running a very, very efficient power source. Far more efficient than we really need. And continue to eat foods we haven't eaten before because we want to get that sweet, sweet health ding. In the meantime, I've also set up an automated thing where any ores that get deposited in here go straight into here, get ground up, and from there go straight into here, get smelterized and get put in here. And the final thing I want, or the final two things I want to show you is this guy over here, which is a trash can chest. These guys are great because anything that goes in here sits in here until something new goes in. So if I grab something I can throw away, like a heat generator, or even something I don't want to throw away, if I put the heat generator in here, wait a second, it did not. Yes, there it is. There's the heat generator. So I can take it back out again. So basically it gives you a 27 item buffer for things you're throwing away. So this is a great thing if you're the kind of person who empties your inventory into a chest to throw stuff away. This will stop you throwing stuff away. So if I just do it with my Ender Sword, like if I throw the Ender Sword away, oh no, I didn't want to throw the Ender Sword away, give me the Ender Sword back. So it acts as a 27 item buffer. And what I've got at the moment is I've got a fuzzy any match level throwing away the Silent Gems swords, Silent Gems machetes, Silent Gems katanas, the leather armor, the bows, and the iron shovels, because those aren't things I particularly need. Now over here I have a very similar setup. We have a fuzzy thing set to 50% damage or above. It's got a redstone card. It needs a redstone card because otherwise it won't work. It puts it out too fast. It's got a couple of capacity cards as well. And the reason we have that is if I move this over here, it'll start depositing diamond armor on here, or should start depositing diamond armor on here. If I take you away, there we go. So we're now getting a flow of diamonds coming in from the tools and equipment. There we go. And this Ignum reactor has 64 shards in it. You've got... Oh, you're out. Oh, so we're using up more shards than we need to. So what we want is we want gunpowder. And we want netherrack. Ah, that's why, because we're out of netherrack brick. Pulverizer. Is it best to do it in a pulverizer? Pulverizer gets us 4 bricks, and yeah, pulverizer is the only way to do it. So here's our pulverizer, which should have a few upgrades in it anyway. And then what we can do is we can actually use combustion chamber with gunpowder. No, combustion chamber isn't gunpowder, it's the catalyzer that's gunpowder. And then the combustion chamber gets the bricks. And this basically makes the shards more efficient. So they'll now produce more, it'll produce more energy per shard. And these just keep smashing stuff up. We get 7 per pair of leggings. So we're producing tons and tons of diamond now. And if we have a look at the diamond, we are... we did have 2,000. And we're now up to 2,300. And it's just going to slowly churn its way through all of this stuff. Just producing diamonds non-stop while it does. Which is really, really good. And it's actually great because it's pretty much automated. Like once we set it up with a set of things to smash, it's just going to keep smashing them until it runs out. And even if it runs out, once we get fresh stuff in from our mob farm or from our loot bags, it's going to keep smashing those as well. So this is a pretty like self-sustaining, endless kind of supply of whatever it is we are smashing. The only thing we need to do is make sure we keep up with the ember shards. Now, I've tried using all sorts of different clocks. I tried using the Dark Utilities timer, and the redstone clock from Extra Utilities 2 just works better because it produces such a short pulse. It produces such a very kind of tight, confined little pulse, which is what we want. So, other than that, so we've got better power, we've got automated smashing of the armor and the diamonds and the tools and things that we're getting out of the mob farm and the loot bags. We've got automatic throwing away of the bows because we had over 1,000 different kinds of bow, and then I think we had about 4,000 bows in our storage system. But other than that, what we want to do is we want to work on advanced mechanisms. Specifically, we want to get into condensing and decondensing. So we need a rotary condensator. And the reason is we want to get into mechanism because once we get through mechanism, we'll be able to start on... if we go into chickens, we'll be able to start on the quest that allows us to do this because we need chemical reactions. And to get to chemical reactions, we need to get to this quest chain here, and this quest chain here is locked behind mechanism. So if we go into advanced mechanism, what we need to do is we need to get condensing and decondensing. So we need a condensator from mechanism. And the condensator from mechanism is this guy. Should be reasonably easy to make. We just need a basic fluid tank, which is iron and redstone. We need a basic gas tank, which is osmium and redstone. And then we need a power cell, which is just gold and some of that, which we need redstone and iron for. Oh, there's our iron. 2,000 iron. That's not great, not terrible. Ah, we did have some cooking up. I thought I'd set some to cook. Condensator. And we'll make one of you. And then we should just be able to pull a condensator out. Those things aren't or dictionaried with themselves. So there we go, we have a condensator. And that completes us that quest. And the next thing it needs is HDPE can be made with biofuel, which is made in a crusher in a pressurized reaction chamber. We need a crusher, and we need biofuel, and we need a pressurized reaction chamber. So let's look up the pressurized, spelt the American way. Pressurized reaction chamber seems pretty easy. We need a spare enrichment chamber, and we need a dynamic tank. Casing used in the dynamic tank multi-block. Okay. So we can make multi-block tanks using mechanism as well. Sounds good to me. This guy just requires basic ingredients and a steel casing, which is osmium and steel. Not a problem. And everything else is... we need 2 basic gas tanks, which are cheap and cheerful. And... we need to pop the enrichment chamber in. There we go. So that is a pressurized reaction chamber. And that should allow us to make HDPE pellets. So we need biofuel made in a crusher. We do have a crusher. Elite crushing factory, in fact. So let's attach these to our power cables for now. And for this we need... let's have a look. HDPE requires substrate, oxygen, and liquid ethylene. And substrate requires biofuel, hydrogen, and water. But once we get one substrate, we can make multiple. So the pressurized reaction chamber requires hydrogen, water, and biofuel. Now the rotary condensator. Let's find out how we use you. Turns hydrogen into liquid hydrogen. Ah, does that mean we need liquid hydrogen to make... I have a feeling that might be gas. We take a gas tank. And then, is it pressurized pipe? Mechanism pressurized pipe. Put a tank down here and a pressurized pipe going to it, and then we configure this to be working with heat engine gases. Input, that's mechanical pipe, I want a pressurized pipe. Then we need pull out, and that's pulling out the ethylene. Excellent. So now if we have a look at this, we need to put ethylene and water in. No, ethylene and water gets us substrate and oxygen. So now we need another gas tank. What is the uses of HDPE? HDPE. So let's look up the uses on this guy. How much of this are we going to need to make? We can make sheets and rods. So what are the sheets used for? They're used for plastic blocks. They're used for neutron collectors, glow lamps. Okay, so they're used for neutron collectors. And what are the uses of the rods? They make plastics, which are used for plastic fences. Okay, so we don't actually need all that much of this stuff. However, what we're probably going to need to do is actually no, we can probably break this, can't we? If I break you and then put you back down, are you going to remember what was in you? You're going to have forgotten it all. You're going to remember. So how do I dump everything out of here? There are no dump options. Liquid ethylene. Oh, that's why we need the pressurizer. Oh, poop. Can I actually pull this out now? Okay, so I have been told there is a way to empty them out. If we get a gauge dropper, one of these guys, which apparently allows us to empty out the machines. Now, I could do that, and I could empty out... which one is it? Is it this one or is it the other one? It's the other one over here. I could empty this out, because I made a mistake with this ethylene, and I probably will, because that's quite a lot of ethylene. Nope, I want a gauge dropper. I actually had to ask someone for advice about this, because I don't know mechanism particularly well, and it's kind of frustrating there is no dump button. But what we need to do is we need to use our condenser to condense down our ethylene into liquid ethylene. And yes, that seems to be working. Can take a bucket of ethylene, that's pretty good. To make HDPE, we need oxygen and liquid ethylene. Okay, so if we pop you down here... Nope, that's entirely the wrong tank. Pop you down here, we grab one of our mechanical pipes. You're already inputting fluid, so what we need to do is set you to output, and that puts fluid into you. Yay, fluid! Then we need some oxygen, which we have in our electrolytic separator, or should have. We have a tiny amount in our electrolytic separator. Dump the hydrogen to make some oxygen. And we add in the hydrogen, and then we add in some substrate, and that should make us HDPE. Excellent. And again, the use for this, as far as I can tell, is to make these sheets. And the only use for these sheets is to make the neutron collectors. These guys. We can also make plastic blocks, and we can make the glow panels. But the only real use for these things is to make these neutron collectors, which involve the nuclear generator. And I'm not actually that interested in having the nuclear generator. Although we use very little liquid ethylene or oxygen to make them. So I suppose it's actually quite cheap, because we're using a fraction of oxygen and a fraction of ethylene to make each one. But you never know, we might as well make some. So that has completed for us in Advanced Mechanisms, that's completed for us the HDPE quest. The next quest we have to do is Digital Miner. And Digital Miner is quite simple, we just need to create a mechanical friend and a charge pad. Which shouldn't be particularly challenging. So let's put away a bunch of things we don't need for the moment. And then let's go charge pad. Should be pretty simple. We need stone pressure plates. And we need an energy tablet, which won't shift click in, so we're going to put it down there. Ooh, we charged it. There we go, and we also need a robot, I believe it's called. Yeah, robot. So what do we need for this? We need an atomic alloy, which we might have. We need 2 of these guys, 1 and 2, which are going to charge up in our inventory. We need a personalized chest, which is just steel chest and a basic circuit. That's not too bad. We've got actually everything, yeah. Hooray for being prepared. So the robot is quite interesting. The robot is a little fella that I think we have to put him down on a charge pad to start with. But yeah, the robot is a little fella. You can name him, you can have him pick up items, you can have him follow you around. He has a crafting grid inside him, he has a little inventory inside him, he has a furnace, he has an anvil. So this guy is actually kind of like, he's quite useful. If you are on a pack where you're adventuring, or where you're sort of going around the world, like having this guy follow you, you can literally just have a crafting table, a smeltery, a chest, and a or furnace, a chest, and a anvil with you wherever you go. And if you have him with pickup mode activated, and I throw something on the floor, he fetches it. Come on, fetch this thing for me. Yep. And if I look in his chest, there they are. So he's quite useful. Ah, I've forgotten how I pick him up now. Is it shift click with an empty hand? How do I pick you up? Teleport back home. I might have to destroy his pad to pick him up. Yeah, you destroy the pad while he's sitting on it and that picks him up off the floor. Although I think he may have absorbed the pad. Yeah, I think he may have picked up the pad just after. Ah well, charge pads aren't expensive. Because I need a charge pad to put him down, and he just absorbed the charge pad. But they're very, very cheap indeed. There we go. There's that charge pad again. So that's the robot. The robot is clicks up, tells you everything he has there. He's a good little device. And the digital miner, when pad, can mine ores in an area. What makes it special is you can filter what type of ores you want to mine. So for that, we needed the robot. Now, the digital miner isn't so useful in a world like this, because we don't really have access to... And then we need the logistical source, I think. We don't really have access to the ores. Because if I put this down, this isn't a void miner. This thing doesn't mine voids. It's interesting that it's actually fully powered. So you see 0 to mine, and that's because there's just no ores around here. Like, it can't find ores. And that's the slight problem I have with it, is that it won't be able to find ores, because there are no ores in this area. Because we're in a void block. Now, we can use the digital miner in other places, like we can use it in other parts of the world. We can use it in other dimensions. We need to create heat, so we need a resistive heater and a fuel wood heater. So we need a resistive heater, which I believe creates heat based upon power. We need to make a superheating element, which is a casing. That makes the superheating element, and then an energy tablet, and we should be able to make a resistive heater, and this creates heat from electricity. And then we want a fuel wood heater as well, and this is cheaper, and it creates heat from, as you might imagine, wood and things like that. And those are the two things we can use to heat up a boiler. So we need a superheating element, 2 boiler valves, structural gas. The boiler is a multi-block that generates steam. These here are materials needed for the smallest one. So you can use these to power like turbines and things. So there's the turbine quest, which comes from the boiler. It is an electrical generator. It is a power generator. But I think I'm quite happy with the one I've got at the moment. Is it 28 casing I needed? 36 casing. There we go. There's 36 casing. Then we need structural glass and boiler valves. Boiler, so we need 2 boiler valves. Means we need advanced circuits. Wow, we're actually out of these circuits. Luckily we have just enough there. We need a superheating element, a pressure disperser, and structural glass. So we'll make some structural glass, which is quite easy. It's just steel and glass. It's 16 we need, I believe. 18. Ooh, that's a bit mean. And then we need a superheating element and a pressure charger. That's easy enough. Just steel, copper, osmium, and a pressure atomic, and a pressure disperser. And of course we need some iron bars, which we don't have because I used them all up making fluid tanks. And there we go, and that's the boiler complete as well. So this gives us access to reborn technology and space and beyond. And those are the the two things we wanted to get into so that we could start getting into things like chicken crafting. Because if we can get into chicken crafting, then we'll be able to use the chickens as resource generators. And the chickens are actually pretty good resource generators. So we got to Space and Beyond, which gets us into Galacticraft. And we got Reborn Technology, and that's the one we wanted to get into chickens. By the way, the trophy, when you complete this, is actually slightly broken. It doesn't come on a pedestal, it just comes as an item, as a resonant thruster. It hasn't actually been put on a pedestal in this particular variant of the mod pack, so I've put it up on a trophy up there. Question is, have we completed any other things all the way through? No, we haven't. So we've still got lots of things that we need to finish off. Yeah, I have got the better storage trophy. So power-wise, we're generating more power than we can actually transmit through these cables. So as long as power is being transmitted, we're 100% fine. Yeah, it actually uses up very little oxygen and ethylene to do these things. So I suppose I don't actually have a problem with this, just because of the sheer amount it will produce. We might use it to make some plastic or something like that in the future. But now we have to have a look at our two new lines. We've got Reborn Technology, which gets us into IC2. I believe it's IC2, or Tech Reborn. And this gives us the... Where's the chemical one? Chemical reactions, this thing. And this is what we need to get into to get chickens. It also gives us a set of solar panels which go through basic, hybrid, advanced, ultimate, and quantum solar panels. And these things do produce a lot of power. I don't know if it will show us in this, but solar. Yeah, this guy generates 1,000 EU. Oh no, that generates 1 EU. That's the quantum. Wait, generation rate 1 EU on all of them? No, that's wrong. That is an incorrect tooltip. Because they've all got exactly the same 1,000 EU storage and 1 EU generated. No, it's the basic solar panel that generates 1 EU. We can actually figure out how much an EU is compared to an RF, because there is conversion rates, by going through this. So this is 15,000 RF, which is 3,700 EU. So that's what? 1 EU is worth 5 RF, roughly. 1 EU is about between 4 and 5 RF. So that's actually, if these generate a decent amount of EU, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. We also now have access to the Galacticraft ones. So that's gotten us kind of into that section of mechanism, into these things. So we'll have a look at Tech Reborn in the next one. That'll get us into chemical reactions, which allow us to start the chickens. In the meantime, I will be doing some clearing up of quests. In Advanced Mechanism, we've got the Chemical Infuser, Dissolution Chamber, Oxidizer, Washer, and Chemical Crystallizer. These are all ore doublers, or ore doublers, triplers, quadruplers, etc. Compressed materials, that's just what we use for making things in the infuser. We've got Osmium Compressor, which wants us to make refined obsidian and glowstone. That's going to be easy. Then we've got Making Ores. The combiner can turn stone and a resource into a corresponding ore. If you use this combined with a full set of these, you can take, I think it's 2 of a resource, turn it into an ore, and then turn that ore into 4 of that resource. So you can basically make infinite resources. But we've got other ways of making infinite resources that are easier and cheaper. Purifying with fluids. Purification chamber uses oxygen to turn ores into clumps. This is actually the multiplier. Turbine is power generation. The hydrogen fuel jetpack is a jetpack, but we've already got access to lots of better jetpacks. We've got the electric pump, which can be used to filter water and heavy water. Thermal evaporator, which just makes us brine, which can be useful later on. And we've got the automatic waters, the aqua concentrator and deconcentrator from Sky Resources, which we can clear up in there later on. Let's just make a glowstone ingot. So it wants us to make one of these, and to make one of these we do osmium compressor, glowstone, and osmium. So where is my osmium compressor? There's an osmium, and we need a glowstone as well. And my osmium compressor must be around here somewhere. Infusion factory. Crushing factory. I do have an osmium compressor. It'll be a compression factory. Advanced compression factory. There we go. I wonder if it's a full ingot to turn a single thing into a glowstone ingot. It does look like it'll be a full ingot. There we go, glowstone ingot. That completes us another quest. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing these quests in between videos. I might stream a little bit of it depending if I can get this thing running appropriately. If I can get this running appropriately, then yeah, I will. But in the meantime, what we want to get into is we want to get into reborn technology so that we can get the chemical reaction chamber. And once we get the chemical reaction chamber, we'll be able to work through these guys. It's odd that the chemical... I mean, I suppose it's on the same line as the chickens. Oh no, it's below the chickens. So to do the chickens, these guys, you need chemical reactions, which comes from reborn technology. And this is below that. So personally, I think the chickens should be moved. Basically, these two should be swapped around. So you get this at the same time as you get industrial revolutions, and the chickens you get later, because the chickens are infinite resource generation, and you need the chemical reaction chamber to do it. Like, I mean, you can sort of make the dye chickens, which will allow you to make all the different coloured dyes, but even then, not really that necessary. So to celebrate that we have completed or gotten access to some more things, let's open 5 loot chests and then say goodbye. So let's see what we're going to get. Are we going to get anything good? That is the question. Pop the first loot chest. We got an opinion core. Okay. A gluttony charm. I think I might already be wearing one. Nope, I'm not wearing one. This will allow us to eat things instantly, which is actually quite cool. Overclockers from Tech Reborn. We're just about to get into Tech Reborn, so why not? Some spirit morbs might be useful, and an epic mega loot case. What did we get? We got a 27 damage blaze sword. Actually, that's pretty dang good. Like, if we enchanted that with sharpness 5, sharpness 6, we could probably get that up to 31. So that's actually a possible spare sword there. So, thank you all for watching. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3, and I will see you all in the next episode, where we'll be getting into Tech Reborn. Bye-zy-bye, everybody.